Hello? Yeah, yeah. You heard the rumors. They're true. I've been seeing other cartridges. Yeah, I think we're over.
Hey, how's it going? I've got probably one of the coolest little cartridges I've dealt with, and I've been shooting it for over 6 months now. I got it in late December, and it is the 6mm ARC and a Savage 110 tactical. It is possibly one of the coolest combos you can get in a rifle. Super low recoil. It's a great cartridge, great rifle to put it through. This is not a rifle review channel. This is just talking about the 6 ARC, and this just happened to be the gun that was available. Now, nothing wrong with Savage. I enjoy Savage. In fact, this replaced the Savage, the 243 Savage, in fact. It runs much smoother than that particular 243 Savage that I had. I think it was a Savage 110 Engage Hunter or something like that. I'll throw it up on the screen. Lowest quality Savage 110 you can get, lowest dollar one as well. So it's kind of not surprising that it was a bit of a lemon. Of course, I got this one suppressed. Super, super quiet cartridge because there's not a lot of powder in that little thing for it to fill or complete the voids that are in that can. So it suppresses very nicely. Of course, you do have that crack of it going down range. It is a supersonic round. There is no subsonic options available on the market. Now, if you reload, I'm sure you could probably whip something up. That being said, this gun in its current configuration with the current market that it's in, unfortunately, you're limited to 3 options of ammo that comes from Hornady, and that's it. That is the biggest downside to this gun as a whole, because I and many other people who like the precision rifle pursuit and shooting tiny groups typically tend to stay away from Hornady's reloading components altogether. Not because Hornady's bad, they're a budget option. And once you realize that they're a budget option, you'll know what I'm talking about, because their quality from their consistency is not there. So the fact that you're stuck with just Hornady's stuff is a big downer. Now, if you reload, that's not the case. This is a Burger bullet that I've got in there, 105 grain projectile. It's a great little round. Once you get out past 500 yards, it's not like 223 where it just kind of drops off just because of the low BC of the bullet. This one keeps going, not flat in the traditional sense of, well, it's here to 300 yards. There's no kind of drop. In terms of 1,000 yards, it gets about 10 mils at 1,000 yards, which is equivalent to a crappy 6.5 Creedmoor load. So that is a great benefit, that it's not that far off from a 6.5 Creedmoor in trajectory standpoint. It is a great round. It is a great rifle. And again, not a rifle review. I'm talking about the cartridge here. Now, why did I choose a bolt gun over an AR-15? One simple reason: pressure. The bolt face for an AR-15 is not as robust as a bolt face for a bolt gun, where it's got a lot more meat to it and can handle those higher pressures. So what does this mean? Well, as someone who reloads their own ammo, I can push my pressures way higher, all the way up to 62,000 PSI. Whereas if you run a AR-15, they recommend much lower pressures so that you don't wear out your bolt. There's been horror stories back when the 6.5 Grendel, which has a very similar kind of reloading situation, where if you have it in a bolt gun, you can push it harder and faster and hotter. There were horror stories of people blowing up their AR-15 or having bolt lug shear over time. So that is definitely a concern if you're going to run this in a AR-15. Now, if you're running factory ammo in an AR-15, you're fine. I have literally loaded cartridges as hot as I physically can, to the point where the primers won't hold up. I've found a way around that, so I can even push hotter rounds through it, usually by using an AR-15 primer, like a CCI number 41, or a small rifle Magnum primer, like a CCI number 450. I can push my pressures up higher, because then I don't have the issue of the primer being punctured and a little piece of the primer ending up ending up in my trigger and into my bolt and into the firing group of the rifle. So that is one thing you have to concern yourself with if you're going to reload, is this gun can be shut down very, very easily if you have a primer puncture and you have a situation where now I've got a little piece of my primer stuck somewhere impeding my firing pin from going forward when I pull the trigger. And that is probably my number one concern with this cartridge as far as reliability. Other than that, it is awesome. I have shot bench rest groups, bench rest competitions with this gun, and because it is a stock factory gun, everything on here is original. It even came with this magazine. Scope's the only thing I added. It can be placed into a lot of factory classes and still maintain incredible accuracy. I'm talking sub MOA accuracy. Yesterday, no, it was 2 or 3 days ago, I shot a 3/4 inch group at 200 yards with it. It is a great gun. It is a very accurate rifle, very accurate cartridge. Now, let's get into kind of the lineage of it. So, for those of you that know about the 6.5 Grendel, it is essentially the 6.5 Grendel neck down with the shoulder bumped back ever so slightly. So, yeah, if you tried to chamber this in a AR-15 with a 6.5 Grendel bolt and barrel, this probably will not go because it's going to be pushed ever so slightly forward and your firing pin is going to light primer strike it. Do not test that. I'm not responsible for your own safety and sanity. That's on you. If you screw that up, it's on you. But that being said, it is essentially a 6.5 Grendel neck down, and you get a little bit more velocity, a little bit higher BC per bullet, and it just makes it an overall better cartridge. Your barrel won't last quite as long because you're pushing all that powder through a smaller and smaller exit, so that the smaller and smaller you make your case neck, and the more pressure you're pushing through that case neck as it gets smaller and smaller, the less life you'll get out of the barrel. That being said, I've got over 1,000 rounds of this barrel, and I have no accuracy issues. I wouldn't expect accuracy issues because both 6.5 Grendel and 6 ARC have incredible barrel life because you're pushing those heavier bullets with less powder behind it, and that's the key. Powder is what kills your barrel faster than anything else. That's why these high-stepping, 28 Nosler and stuff have very low barrel life, is because they've got such a high powder capacity and people are pushing so much powder through that barrel. That being said, I have been shooting this cartridge with hot loads and very small, lightweight bullets. In fact, the majority of bullets that I put through this gun are varmint rounds and bench rest bullets, custom bench rest bullets. Anyways, still 1,000 rounds through it. It still shoots great. I am totally impressed with it. It's a great cartridge. Downside is the only people you can buy brass from is Hornady. Again, Hornady. If you're going to shoot precision, don't shoot Hornady. If you're going to just shoot PRS, you're fine shooting Hornady. It doesn't really matter. But if you're going to shoot F-class or bench rest like I have, try to get away from Hornady. The upside to that is you can just get 22 Russian brass from Lapua and shoot 22 Russian brass out of this gun. And it's great and it's awesome, and it makes it a better gun overall because the components you're putting towards it are better. So what you put in is what you're going to get out of the gun. I shot 243 for a long time. I enjoyed 243. I still enjoy 243. If I had 243 in a better gun, I would still love 243. Unfortunately, I don't have 243 in a good gun. That's why I went to 6.0.